Sorry about the dress code, it's -4 out there. So let's speak about somewhere warm. Nigeria. Nigeria at the moment, one of the banks there is coming out with this policy where you can only draw, I think it's $45 US. That'll be a fridge motor. It's -20 in the fridge, that's why the fridge is working. They're going to limit how much you can take out your cash point. And they want to do this because they are literally trying to push their country over to a cashless society. Now, don't get me wrong, I do find cash most of the time a pain in the ass, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't use it or stick with it, because once you've lost it and it's gone, you don't get it back. That's it, game over. All the time you have cash, if a situation came up where, say for instance, you needed to buy something, you could go over with the cash and still buy it. But what if your system of payment has been stopped for whatever reason? Well, we'll get on to that. So what they're going to do is they'll limit it to, doesn't matter whether you're going on holiday there or whether you live there, 45 equivalent of dollars, which works out about £37 sterling, I think, roughly. I got this, by the way, off David, the Curtin. Ugh, it's too early for me. David Curtin, he's on the ball, that man. So what I want to do is talk about the implications of this. Say for instance you realise that eventually they're going to stop you being able to take your money away. At £37 a day, if they did it over here, and you had any significant money, you'd never get your money out. So you go to the bank and you say, I want that lot withdrawn in cash. Well, what if they say no? What do you do then? So I can't have my money in cash. What are you saying? I can't have my money back? And they'll say, no, you can invest it, you can buy a house with it, you can buy land with it, etc, etc. But you just can't have it in like currency, because we're doing away with that. It's going to a digital currency. So for me, it seems like you'll never have your money back. And if you put it into property, if any of you have seen my video about how they plan to relieve you from your property, it's a list of things that will need doing to older houses to get them up to this sort of net zero rubbish they're trying to do, which basically means your carbon footprint in your house is next to nothing. And to do so is going to cost you upward of 90 to 100 grand. So there's a video about that. It's in the backlog, so I'll go and have a look at that. So you can't take your money out, right? But you can invest it in something we plan to take off you anyway. Remember I told you about this money grab, this asset grab, the land grab, the wiping out of the middle class and just the complete control of the lower classes? So there would be a much bigger gap between those who are allowed and those that aren't. Now, even if you're a good citizen and you're a moral citizen and you follow all the rules, this should annoy you. That's your money and you can't take it out. Now, I suppose if you went back years and years and years ago, you could ask for gold, but you can't do that now. They'd laugh at you if you even tried. But this is the thing I'm talking about. Where does this lead us? Well, you know, it's a worry. So you go into a society where we'll end up being on this credit scoring system. You know, if you're a good citizen, you're all well. But if you're not a good citizen, you get punished and you can't spend, you can't use it in shops and stuff like this. And because you don't actually have any cash, if you've been a bad citizen that week, what do you do? Because this is a real question. It's a bit like these 15-minute cities I was talking about. I've done a video about that as well. Well, at the time, it only popped out that they were trialling it at one place in the UK, but they're now thinking of doing it in many, many more. France is thinking about doing it. They're all doing it. So not only will you not be able to spend your money, but if you could get your hands on your money, you can't go very far, otherwise you get a fine for that. You are becoming prisoners, and most people don't even realise it. Now, it won't sink in for quite a while until they've literally gone so far that you'd be like, oh, hang on a minute, but by then it will be too late. So just be aware. They don't do everything all at once in one spot. It would be too obvious. So they'll go, that part of the world can try this, that part of the world can try this part of the world can try that, and they trial all these different ideas, and they work out getting the rough edges knocked off. And when they have worked out a way of using it properly, then they bring it in more mainstream. Just, I thought I'd let you know, because the fact that most people don't know this is worrying. But the second thing is, a lot of people are getting clued up but still have no intention of ever doing anything. They're going to walk into it, basically. So what are you going to do? How much money have you got in the bank? Obviously you can't tell me, and I don't want to know, but ask yourself, how much money do I have in the bank? And if we go over to a cashless society, that means it's always going to have to be tied up with somebody else. I'll never see that back. Now, if there was a massive, I don't know, system where, do you remember that crash that they had going back? There was a virus that went around the world and literally smashed the living daylights out of systems, computers, all sorts, the NHS. It went mental. And it goes back to the Iran nuclear program. There were a group that tried to stop it, and they did it on the back of this virus that went all the way around everywhere else and piggybacked into people's computer systems to make it in there to ruin their centrifuge. That's a long story. There is something about that I did in the live stream. But if there was another massive computer virus that went around and destroyed everybody's records, how would there ever be any proof that you actually had that money? You're relying on faith. You're relying on people's goodwill. You're relying on decency. You're relying on everything we used to have. But when that changes, what are you going to do? Say, for instance, there is a virus and it hits your central, or the bank that you go with, and they've lost all of their records. And this virus was so aggressive that it took out all their backups as well. Now, we can't seem to find your money. We will keep looking, but have you got any evidence? It's not looking good, is it? I'm just giving you the worst case scenario here, but it may be worth thinking about. Another interesting part that I missed out is that they're reducing the amount of cash points there are in the UK. Slowly but surely they're doing away with them. They did away with your village banks to start with, as you know, and now they're going to do away with more and more cash points in a bid to push people over. So part of that is already happening here. I just thought I'd put that on there because it reminded me as I was going to edit this that was kind of important as well. They'll reduce how much you can draw out, but they'll also reduce where you can go to draw it out. There you are. Anyway, live stream tonight, possibly, if I can get back in time. If I can't, we'll have to do it in the week, but we'll see. All right, catch you in a bit.